Welcome, everybody, to Nourishing Space. My name is Susan, and we're here on January 26th, 2022. And we are going to focus today on the side body and the spine. For anybody who's been taking my classes for any amount of time, you know that the side body is something that I totally love to move. It feels so good. And as I get older, I notice that this is a place that gets stickier and stickier as time goes on. But like, I can't, it used to be like, like don't do that for a while and it was fine. No, these are parts of my body that I really need to get to every day. So I'm going to show you a variety of things that will work the spine in all the directions that it's designed to move, and focusing in particular on creating some release through the side body. One of the things that's so important about addressing the stickiness of the side body is that when our side bodies start to get contracted, is that it really impedes our breath, and we're not able to breathe fully and as nourishingly when we're sticky on the sides. So that's what we're after. That's the intention. A quick announcement that today, let's see, today's the 26th. So the February classes are on sale until Friday. So if you'd like to join us for February classes, that is available now. We also have scholarship money available. If that's an issue, I'd be delighted to send that, set you up with some of that. And also there's a special class, free class for everybody on February 14th, Valentine's Day. We're going to focus on self-love, and I'm excited about that. So those are all things that are coming up. And if you have any questions, I hope you will let me know. Just reach out. I always love to hear from you. So for our practice today, something soft to be on the floor, or if you wanted, you could also do this probably on a couch or something like that. I like to have a carpet and a yoga mat because I'm a tender thing. And it feels better. The only other thing that I think you're going to need today, and maybe I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to use it, but a strap or a belt or a short towel or it could be a t-shirt, anything like that. I could take this off and I could use this, but I'm not going to because it's cold up here. All right. Sound good? Anybody have any questions before we start? No? All right. My sweethearts, let's begin as we do for our Nourishing Space classes by taking a walk around the space. So just walking around the space as an opportunity to check in with your body. So this is a walking check-in. So it doesn't have to be anything special, just any kind of walk, and just notice what's happening in your body right now. So for me, I've been running around, I've been doing stuff in the house, and I haven't really been paying that much attention to my body. And this is an opportunity to really check in. Notice in particular how your feet are striking the floor, but then also how your feet are moving the rest of you. So how is your spine? How is your hips? How are your hips feeling? Do you notice anything on your side body? And if you were to put a number on your breath, 1 being the most shallow breath you could take and 10 being the deepest breath you could take, where is your breath right now? How would you navigate? How would you designate that? Yeah. And so be very concrete, be very specific. Right? So I'm inviting you right now to really say to yourself, I feel this in my shoulders. I feel this in my spine, or I don't feel something. This is an opportunity to check it out and then see what happens after we practice. So let's just begin by just giving the body a little swing out. So just start with your feet about hips width apart and just let yourself swing front and back. So right away, this is a way of getting a little more breath into your body. You can let your legs bend. You can come onto the balls of your feet. That's fine. And it's not necessary. You can just give yourself a swing. Yeah. And then open up your stance and let yourself swing this way, front and back. So crossing the arms, a little extra fancy. You can alternate the arm that goes on top or in front. And just notice how that impacts your shoulders, but also your ribs. And then maybe do a couple behind you. Just see what happens there, right? Keep your knees soft and buoyant. And then let your arms swing in opposition to each other. So this gives the spine a little bit of a twist. And for me, if I let my arms come up a little bit, I can feel it a little more in my side. Whew. All right, so that already feels better. So just come back to center. And with your feet, I don't know, just maybe about shoulder width apart. Feel your pelvis. So we're just going to check into the spine. So the spine is designed to move in 6 different ways, side to side. So wag your tail side to side. Just sense your lumbar spine. These are the bigger vertebrae at the base of your spine. And then go front and back. I'll do it from the side. Front and back, tipping and tucking your spine. So this is front and back. Yeah. Good. And then the same thing, but just give it a little circle. And just notice that sensation. Yeah. And so then taking your hands just above your knees, resting your palms, fingers in, and let's move the thoracic spine. So again, front and back. We'll start with that. Front and back. It's like a cat-cow kind of movement, but it's focusing on the thoracic spine, which are the vertebrae that are in contact or connected with your ribs. Yeah. And then come back to standing and just see if you can move your thoracic spine, your rib cage, just a little bit side to side. This is not a movement we do very often. So it's not from the hips, but from the middle of your spine. Yeah. Good. And then rotate your thoracic spine around. 6 different directions, front and back, side to side, and around in both directions is the way your spine is designed. Even though we tend to use it like it's a broomstick and don't always move in all of those directions, and moving the spine in this way also gets into the side body. Right on. Good. And let's just gently get into the neck a little bit too. So same thing. Let's just go side to side. Letting your ears drop one at a time, keeping your shoulders down. And then go front and back. So tipping your chin forward and look up. And just feel the cervical spine, your neck, getting that a little bit of movement. Gently, go gently here because these muscles are very small. And then look around. So keeping your shoulders square, just letting your eyes look around. And check into your knees and your feet. Keep them soft and relaxed. Sometimes as we move the neck and head, we can gather tension in other places. So keep yourself buoyant in your stance. Yeah. Good. Sweet. And so then let's take that and move into the side body. So you starting with your feet close together, gently lift your palms up overhead, and you can actually cross your thumbs if that feels good, squeezing your upper arms as far up as you can around your head, and then just send your hips to the left and your hands to the right. Take some deep breaths. It's really easy to hold your breath here. And instead, just go as far as you can and keep yourself breathing. And then inhale up center, then send your hips to the right and your hands to the left. So notice there can be a tendency to want to roll forward. And instead, you want to keep your shoulders stacked over each other. And breathe yourself back up. You can do that exactly the same way again, or you can take your left foot and cross it behind your right. And here's another variation. Leave your left arm high, take your right hand down to your hip and come over this way. So this is getting into the side body, including your leg. There's a long band of connective tissue on the outside of your leg, sometimes called the IT band. And that is part of what we're getting at here. Inhale up. And you can just leave your feet together if that feels good. You can leave both hands overhead, or you can cross your right behind the left. Send your hips to the right and one or both hands to the left. Oh. And then bring yourself back up. Give yourself a little shake out. Yeah. So we're going to do a more of a dynamic movement that I find to be really helpful. And I often do it while I'm waiting for my kettle to boil for my morning tea. So we're going to cross behind like we did before with the ball of the foot and circle one arm overhead. So just do this a couple of times side to side. And this circular movement gets into all the different angles of the muscles that are around your side body. And you can experiment with where you look. You can also experiment with the direction of your palm. So I get one sensation when my palm is up and a different sensation when my palm is down. Yeah, so experimenting with that. Oh, yeah, great. Nice. So right away from here, just check out how your body feels. Maybe you want to give yourself a little swing again. Just feel that, feeling side to side, noticing your breath, noticing what it feels like. Maybe you just want to give yourself a little shake out. Yeah, beautiful. Good. So I offer this as something very simple. We've just been moving for a couple of minutes. This is something that you could do at any time and just weave this into part of what you do when you've been sitting at your desk or you've been driving in the car or something like that. So great work and super simple and super powerful for the side body. So let's take ourselves onto the floor into tabletop position, otherwise known as all fours. And let's see, I think I'm going to do this facing you for this one. So, so you want to have your hands right under your shoulders and really spread out your fingers so that your index fingers are pointing forward and pressing the base of your fingers down. And that's going to give you lots of support through your spine. Then take your left foot. I want to just show you all the things. So take your left foot back and maybe just give yourself a little stretch through the lower leg by pushing your palms into the floor and lengthening the back of your leg. Take an inhale breath, and as you're ready, you stay right where you are. Take your left leg and cross it behind you to the right side. So it's this odd sensation of looking over your right shoulder and seeing your left foot. And take some long breaths into your left side ribs. And then gently take the same foot. So your left foot is going to go out to the side. This is why we have padding under the knees. And you may want more padding. If you want more, by all means, double up your mat or put a towel there. Your left leg is long, and take your right arm up to your ear and slide your left hand down your leg. So opening up the side of your body. Imagine it like a sail. And again, this movement allows in some stretch and release through the side of your hip, as well as the side of your leg. Take a big inhale breath, reach up, and then take it to the other side so you can let your right hand come down to the floor and a nice long side body stretch from left foot to left fingertips. Good. Again, breathing into the side body and just noticing any details of sensation. And then come back up to standing, not to standing, to all fours. And now come back to all fours. And this time, do what I like to call a creative cat-cow. So a traditional cat-cow is lifting your head and tail and then dropping your head and tail, letting your spine move in this flexion and extension. What I'm inviting here is instead to get creative with it, is to really listen to your body. Maybe it's a circular movement. Maybe it's a tail wag. Maybe it is the traditional cat-cow. But do it from a place of curiosity and feeling your spine and your side body, what would feel really good. And then let's do those other movements on the other side. So this time, you're going to take your right foot and stretch it way back. Maybe give yourself a little low leg stretch. And then lift it up and cross it behind to the left side. So you're looking at your right foot as you look over your left shoulder. This is definitely an unusual stretch. This is not something we usually do, but it's really good to get into the side and the hips in a very different way. A couple of breaths there. And then gently take your whole right foot, place it down and come onto your knees. You're going to slide your right hand down, avoiding your knee, and let your left arm come over. So again, like we did when we were in standing, make sure that you're breathing and notice if your top shoulder wants to rotate toward the floor. Instead, keep it up, stacked over the right one over on the other side. So it's almost like your body's in between two panes of glass, and you're going to stay in this lateral plane. And then inhale up, and then drop fingertips on your left side and feel your whole right body. Big breath into your right ribs, your right armpit. Feeling your side body. So one of the things I notice that when I pay attention to and take care of my side body, I realize how much tension I was holding there and how much more easeful my body feels when I allow the side body to release. Take a big inhale breath up. Oh, all right. And then as you're ready, come back onto all fours and do some creative cat-cow again. So whenever we do an asymmetrical movement, like we just did, just focusing on one side, I like to come back to a symmetrical movement. It's a way of integrating the stretch that we did and allowing your body to kind of recalibrate into a symmetrical orientation. Yeah? Cool. Nice. So let's do this. Take your seat. Now, take a seat. Whenever we're sitting on the floor, it's important to check into your spine, but particularly when we're focusing on the spine. So it's very common with tight legs that sitting upright requires our hips to be lifted. So if you'd like to sit on a pillow or something, if your spine is doing something like this, get yourself oriented so that you can be upright. And that may mean you're in a chair or sitting in some other organization, and that is totally fine. What I'm going to invite here is to create some length through your spine. So lift up. And now I'm going to take my right hand and I'm going to take it to the outside of my left foot, my left leg. And so the back of my hand is on the outside of my left leg, and I'm going to slide it down. So this is a little bit of a twist and a little bit of a side stretch. Doesn't matter at all how far down your leg it goes. It's not about like get to the outside of your foot. No, bodies are designed differently. Our architecture, the way we use our bodies is different. All I'm interested here in is a long legs, even bent legs. It doesn't even matter that way, but feet engaged. Notice that my toes are pointing toward the sky, and that I've got this a little bit of tension between the back of my hand and the outside of my leg. So that's creating a twist, it's creating some opening through the shoulder and the side body. And then slide back up. And then take the other hand, your left hand on the outside of your right leg, and slide it down. And you'll know when the right place is for you to stop. If you start to feel tension or discomfort of any kind, back it off. You want to feel a moderate stretch here. So if you were going to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being something you couldn't feel at all, and 10 being like the holy smokes, most intense stretch you've ever had, you want something between like a 5 and a 7. Big breaths. And then come back up. Sweet. Now, you can leave your legs exactly like they are. If that feels good to you, you can also bend your legs, or you could sit crisscross applesauce, whatever feels good. This feels good to me. This is what I'm going to go with, but you choose what feels best for your seated position. Again, you want to be oriented straight up and down. And here, We're going to do another side stretch, but here we're going to have the support of the hand on the floor. So my right arm is up and my right sits bone, my right hip is down. So it can be easy here to kind of tip, and can you see how my hip is lifting here? Instead, we want to root the hip so that more space is available as we breathe into the side body. So we've already done a couple of stretches in this orientation. This is just a variation on this. And the tissues in your side body, I'm hoping, are getting this sense of possibility of space, of release, even if they've been holding on for a while. Take a deep inhale breath, come back up. And again, you can have just your fingertips on the floor. You can have your palm on the floor. But definitely root down through your left hip as your left arm comes over. And if you can do that with your elbow down, that's fine. It's not better. It's just the way that your body is at this moment. You might also feel that one side is significantly different than the other. Also totally normal. See how deep a breath you can take. And then come back up. Oh, yeah. All right. I can totally feel the stickiness moving out of my side. So now if you do have a strap or a small towel, I've just got a little hand towel basically, and take it in your left hand, your strap or your belt, and put it over your head so that the strap or belt is hanging behind you. And then reach behind with your other hand and grab the tail. So I'm going to show you this from behind. Yeah, can you see? And then tip a little bit. So a gentle pull down. This is not as big a movement as we were doing before. But you're pulling with your bottom hand just a little. This is just opening up this tissue in your side body in a little bit of a different way. And then switch sides. So take the towel in the other hand and reach behind, gently pull down. Again, the organization of your shoulders. I have sort of crazy flexible shoulders. So that's not necessarily good, but that's just the way my shoulders are designed. But what you want is just to feel this traction of the hands pulling against each other. And what does that do to the sensation in the side body? And then come back up. You can just set your towel aside. Yeah. All right. So again, if you've been sitting crisscross applesauce, crisscross the other way. And if you've been sitting another way and your body is tired of sitting that way, feel free to shift that. And we're just going to do a little bit of a dynamic twist. So again, 2 sits bones down. My left hand is reaching to my right knee, and then switch. So you're inhaling as you move. Exhale, give it a little traction, push, squeeze out. So like we were talking about with the side body stretch, it's really easy on twisting movements to hold your breath. So the reason that we're doing this in a dynamic way is to invite the engagement of the breath. Inhale, shift, exhale, actively squeeze the breath out. You could even imagine that your body is like a wet towel and you're wringing it out with your breath. Inhale. So you can do this at your own breath pace, faster or slower. Yeah, just see what feels good to your body. I can actually feel this in my shoulders as well as my sides. Yeah, good. Nice. And just give your shoulders a little roll about. And then take your palms together. I'm lacing my fingers and pressing them forward. And then just lift one wrist and then the other. So a little side to side movement. So this is taking your spine on the side to side sensation. I sometimes call this steering the steering wheel down a windy road. Yeah. But it's also getting some length through your arms. It's all connected. Yeah. Excellent. So now let's just take your hands and rub them together. And let's give a little connection of hands to body. So take your hands to your low back and use the strength and warmth of your hands to investigate your low back. So use your fingers, your palms, the strength of your thumbs. Check out your lumbar spine, but also check below that into your sacrum. It's a flat bone that almost looks like the shape of a palm that's at the very base of your spine, and those bones are pretty much fused together. But just check out what's happening down there and all the musculature that's around that. You can even go around and squeeze your hips a little bit. And then take your hands and do the same thing around your ribs. So you can wrap around your arms into the front, or just explore the thoracic spine and the rib cage and just see what's happening. See if you notice any places of tension, and you may not. That's totally fine. But just paying attention, this is a way of giving your body information with touch that it might not get just from movement or even stillness. Now, just because I love to do this, it's not our focus today, but reach over and give some squeezes to your trapezius muscles, the muscles that go from your neck to the top of your shoulder. Yeah. Good. And now come to seat again and let the top of your spine get as tall as you can. For some reason, it helps me to close my eyes and imagine that my sits bones are dropping down. The crown of my head is lifting up, and press your right heel of your hand away down toward the floor as you drop your left ear toward your left shoulder. So this is the side of your neck that we're engaging here, but you may also be able to feel something in your shoulder. Check out your left shoulder, make sure that it's not lifting up too. And then be curious by just letting your chin fall and lift just a little bit. These are micro movements, down and up. Yeah, good. And then very slowly, let your chin come back up, your head come back up. Do the little wobble bobble, imagining that your crown of your head is floating up as your sits bones root down, and then your left heel of your hand pushes away, and your right ear drops toward your right shoulder. And take a moment to give your body a chance to kind of catch up with the shape that you've chosen here. Your body is sometimes sort of like a kid or anybody who doesn't like things to change. And when we change things, there can be a little grumpiness and the body can sort of get resistant and grip. And what we're here to do with these longer holds is just to say, it's okay. You can let go. It's all right. We're not doing anything scary. And then again, you can let your chin drop down or up just a little bit like this. Someone from the outside might not even notice any difference. But this is just a little movement to get into some of the angles of musculature that are in your side of your neck. Nice. And then come back up to center. And again, warm up your hands if they're cold and take them to your neck. Just give it a squeeze along your neck. Along. Dana and I both love the occipital ridge. So if you want to give a little massage to this ridge of bone at the base of your skull, man, it is always a tender place for me. Good. Nice. And then we're going to do a variation on child's pose. Child's pose doesn't work well for everybody. If you're somebody who doesn't work well for, you're welcome to stay in seat and lean forward onto the base of a chair. That can be a way of getting this sense of release through the back body without actually folding yourself over. If that is a variation that works for you, you can use a chair, you could use a couch seat, anything like that works just fine. If you want to do a child's pose with me, if that works for you. Now you have a choice here, or a couple of choices, is to keep your legs together. We'll get a little more stretch through the spine, and that's the variation I'm going to go with. But if your hips are feeling really stiff today, taking your toes together and your knees open is another way of doing child's that will give you a different sensation in your hips. And if you're doing this in a chair, it's a similar thing. The way that you're sitting can change the sensation in your spine and your hips. I'm going to keep my legs together just so that I can get a little more through the back of my spine. So hands come forward, tuck your chin. And I like to engage my hands and push back a little bit so that my tail kind of reaches back behind me. And I'm not really doing it right now because of the microphone, but if your forehead reaches the floor, you can roll your head a little bit side to side and get a nice massage through the front of your skull. And then take your right hand and reach it to the left. So you can also do this on a chair. Instead of reaching both of your forearms forward, you can have your right forearm reach a little bit to the left and shifting my right hip to the right. So my right hand is reaching to the left and my right hip is reaching down to the right. Take the biggest breath you can. And then come back to center. And again, center. So we've done something asymmetrical. Let's come back. Big breath in center. And then take your left hand to the left side. Left hand to the right side. And left hip drops down. Long side body stretch. I cannot emphasize the importance of breathing in general, but in particular when we're doing these twisting and side body movements. I think there must be some kind of evolutionary tendency because we're exposing these tender parts of ourselves that we tend to hold our breath. That's the only thing I can think of. So just allowing the nourishment of oxygen and space to move into your body. And then when you're ready, come back to center. And stretching your arms long. If this is tiring for your shoulders, this is another option for childs, is to have your hands come down along the sides of your body near your feet. So now let's take ourselves, just check the time here. Oh, doing just great. So take your body onto your back. And so again, you could do this on a couch. You could do this on a bed if this feels better rather than getting all the way on the floor. I do recommend something not too soft because your body gets benefit from the feedback from the firmness. So I like it soft, but I also like it firm. And it's so it's a little bit of the balance of both. Bring yourself down in any way. And so start with your knees bent and give yourself a little low back tuck. And then I don't know, lift. So we're focusing on the low back. So you're lifting your pubic bone up toward your belly button and then pressing your low back, your sacrum down into the mat. So this is not a huge movement, but it's one that gets a little massage and gets some activity through the lumbar spine, front and back. And now I want you to imagine that there are chalk marks on the whatever surface you're on. And you're using your tail, your low back, your sacrum, and your lumbar spine to wag side to side and rub the chalk marks off the mat. Now, if you're on a super sticky surface, you might not be able to move very much, and that's totally fine. It's just the idea of side to side movement. And if you've got some resistance, it has some benefits too. So that's just fine. And then as you're ready, let your feet tip over and let your knees fall to one side and then the other. Inhale, center, and then exhale, fall. Inhale and exhale. So my shoulders are staying relaxed on the floor. My shoulders are melting down. They're not peeling off. And I'm only letting my legs come across as much as my shoulders can stay square. And this is targeting that rotational movement into the low back. Yeah. And then the next time that your knees fall to the left, take your left foot and ankle, and you can experiment with resting it on the top of your right leg. So it's almost like there's somebody's hand is putting a little bit of pressure, a little bit of weight, and that's going to get in again to that IT band on the outside of your thigh and into the side of your hip. Yeah. Cool. And then gently release that top foot, come back to center. Now in the center, let your feet come together and your knees fall open. Now, depending on your hips, this might be too much of a stretch. It might be not enough. So really experiment here. It might be something that you having a pillow or something underneath your thighs is a way of giving your body some support if it feels like it's too much of a stretch, too much of a strain. But just taking a moment, feeling the I don't usually think about this as the side body, but it is the inside of your legs. So getting some balance there can be helpful. And then when you're ready, use your hands to help your knees come back up, come back with the feet solid on the floor, and then tip them over to the right. And I like to have my arms out at a T or a goalpost arms that stabilizes my shoulders. And I'm taking my right foot and putting it on top of the left thigh. And take some breaths into the side of your thigh, the side of your hip. You could take your left hand and reach it a little bit and just see if you get some side body stretch, if that feels good. That's an option. I'm not feeling that particularly today, but sometimes I do. Nice. And then gently release the top foot, come back to center. And let's do some windshield wipers again with the legs and just side to side with your breath. Exhale down, inhale to center, exhale and inhale. And again, I like this dynamic movement. It gets a massage into the big muscles of the gluteal area, which feels really good to me. But it also creates some dynamic, some flow through your body. As always, looking for any places of discomfort, any places of tension, any micro adjustments that you want to make that feel better for you, definitely do that. Yeah, cool. So then, as we keep windshield wipering, I want to get in the upper body so that the whole spine gets some twist. So the next time that your knees fall to the right, let your arms fall to the left. Inhale, center, arms come up, legs come up, and rotate to the right. Inhale and exhale. Yeah, slowing it way down can have some interesting impacts on the body. Another variation is to let your eyes look away from your hands. So the eyes and the legs go in the same direction. And that gives like the triple twist through your spine, into your lumbar spine, your thoracic spine, and your cervical spine, your low back, your middle back, and your upper back and neck. Nice. Very sweet. And then take your, what was that? What else was I going to do here? Oh yeah. So take your knees into your chest now and give yourself a little squeeze. So I've got my chin toward my knees. I'm tucking into the littlest ball that I can. And then lengthen your left leg long and squeeze your right leg in. And using your hands, let your right thigh and knee rotate over. And here, let your hips come up and off the floor. And here, definitely, this I can feel a nice stretch through my side body if I reach my right hand up on an angle away from my hip, into my armpit, the area around my chest, as well as my arm and side body. Take another big breath and let's do it one more on the other side. So tuck up. So into a symmetrical tuck here. And then lengthen your right leg long and your left knee comes across your body, and your left arm reaches up on an angle. So for me, my range of motion in my left shoulder is very different than on my right. So, and that's just the way bodies work. So paying attention and making adjustments whenever you feel any differences side to side, that's all part of the practice. Notice if you're holding any tension in your eyes or your jaw. Take one more big, slow breath. And then gently come back to center. Yeah. And so now just gently take your soles of your feet to the ceiling. So imagine you're holding two trays with the soles of your feet. And then take your hands, and you can either grasp behind your thighs on your shins, like you're pulling your shin bones straight down, or on the outsides of your feet. Again, it's not better or worse to grab any of those things. It's important to keep in alignment with what your body needs. Now, one of the things that can happen with this is that it can be really easy for your tailbone to come up and off. Instead, what I'm inviting here is to keep the soles of your feet toward the sky and your tailbone pancake down onto the floor. Breathe in to the sides of your legs, both insides and outsides of your legs. And staying right here is really great. And if it feels good, you can also extend one leg at a time. And you could even extend two legs at a time if you can do that and keep your tailbone down. If that feels good, go for it. And then bring your feet together and bring your body into constructive rest. So here your feet are wide and your knees are like a teepee. They are resting together so that there's no effort in keeping your legs in this position. So make any micro adjustments that you need. Then take the palms of your hands, rub them together. And when they feel a little bit warm, let the heels of your hands rest on your closed eyes. So take some breaths into the warmth and darkness and let your nervous system just chill. So we've been doing a lot of different movements. We may be getting into some places in your body that have some tension or some tenderness. And this is a chance for your nervous system to relax around everything that you've done. And you can use your fingers. You might give yourself a little scalp massage. You might massage your ears a little bit, which stimulates your immune system. And who couldn't use that in the end of January? Still with COVID about. Yeah, so, and if you wanted to give yourself another little neck massage or the occipital ridge, anything that would just feel good to your body, that feels relaxing. Because this is a really important part of the practice, is pausing, integrating, resting. And then taking lots of time, put one arm up over your head so it's resting on the floor. Bend your knees and roll toward that arm onto your side body. So right now, just giving your side body some gratitude for how much it works for you all the time. It's always working for you. One of my yoga teachers called the side body the most overworked, underappreciated body part. And then as you're ready, use your hands and slowly push yourself up into seated, and let, like sand in the hourglass, let the energy pour back down into your body. And then in any way, bring yourself in your own way back into standing, and then walk a walking check out. So walk around your space again. Oh boy. Yeah. Just feel the way that your body is walking. And notice any of the details that you noticed at the beginning. What's happening here? How do you feel in your feet and your hips? Your spine? Are you aware of places that you weren't before? And of course, your breath. Feel free to walk in different directions too. You can walk side and back and just see how that feels in your body. So if you gave your breath a number before, what would you give your breath now on the scale from 1 to 10? And then, my sweethearts, when you're ready, come back to your screen. Yes. All right. So let's close the recording. Thank you, friends.